Next, let's get to another real world example where I use ChatGPT to help me write a course description. And we've talked about priming earlier in the course of feeding it a specific set of data so that it learns what kind of style, syntax, language, and tone you want to replicate. So let's hop into this example. So we have one of my past courses on Udemy, and there's the description section for every single course. And I found a layout that works really well of starting with a question, telling people, okay, perfect. If these questions align with you, you found the right course. Here's what you're going to learn by the end of the course, the different chapters with a paragraph that explains the chapter, followed by bullet points that just go into more granular detail about each chapter. And that's kind of the formula. Oh, and then technically we talk about the biggest goal for you from the course, and just a few other little tidbits about the information and details and specifics of the course. And because this is a very intensive process, this is a lot of copy. And every other year and every other time that I've created these, they've always been from scratch. Of course, I kind of copy and paste my template, but I'm rewriting the whole thing from scratch. There's no shortcut, even if I have a template that I've used before. So what I was curious of was, how much can ChatGPT help me with this process? So as an exploration, here's what I did. I said, use the description for one of my past courses as a framework. In the upcoming prompts, I'd like for you to take the speaking style and layout of the example text and apply that to a new description that I need you to generate for another course. Is that understood? ChatGPT, yes, understood. You'd like for me to keep the same style and layout of the given text for a course description. Now please provide me with the example course description and then the details of the new course that you'd like me to generate a description for. And then I said, here's the reference text for you to consider. And then I literally paste in the entire description from this course that we just looked at, where I did the hard work to create it from scratch. ChatGPT replied, sure, please let me know the details of the new course that you'd like for me to generate the description for. And honestly, this is where it gets a little bit crazy. I was honestly wanted to just test the limits of this tool. And I wanted to see, because I have this document that has all of my chapter and lesson titles for this course right here, with a notes column of what I need to know when I'm filming. But I wanted to prime ChatGPT with just lecture titles. So we have our section for this actual course that you're watching on ChatGPT, on learning and research, on Midjourney, on DALL-E 2, and all the other elements of this course. So it just only has lesson titles. What it did was said, sure, I can create a course description for the new course in the style of the reference text that you provided. Here's the description. It went in and kept the same exact outline and actually did a phenomenal job of differentiating the chapter, what's gonna be in the chapter, and the overall layout of the exact course with honestly a not very practical set of base information or priming data. So I was a little bit floored and blown away by this output. I will say that there were a few mistakes. For this Midjourney section, it said, in this chapter, you'll learn how to use ChatGPT for the Midjourney program. There was a lot of, well, I won't say a lot, but there was a decent amount of editing that I had to do to get this complete and ready for actual view and for it to go live. The other thing is it stopped at 7 because I believe it hit its limit on how much text it can output in one prompt. So I simply said, please continue number 7 and the remaining descriptions. And it went ahead and did that perfectly. So let's go and see what other interaction that I had with it. So I said, please break part 5 into 2 different sections. One section focusing on Midjourney, reiterating, upscaling, and remixing, and the other section focusing on Midjourney and more unique ways to create and advance parameters. Don't include anything about ChatGPT because I was having a little bit of an issue there. or DALL-E 2 in these descriptions. There was a little bit of back and forth. It did exactly what I wanted of splitting it into 2 sections, but for whatever reason, it kept bringing up ChatGPT. So this is not perfect, but I was honestly pretty blown away. I still had to do the final pass, the re-editing and the rewriting, but I can honestly say that because I've created a handful of different courses and done this process, it had to have cut the time needed on my end more than half. So in theory, I could create 2 course descriptions in the same amount of time by doing this process. So I hope that opens your mind on how you can prime ChatGPT with past text from you or text from another source that you want to emulate.